Really feel like I should get more into mindset, so I'm going to start doing these videos again. So let's get right into it. So here's the reason most people will never reach their fitness goals. And the first issue, straight off the bat, is that most people think that this fitness shit is all physical. It's literally mental because your mind's going to be able to go further than your body can, obviously. But in order for you to keep showing up day in and day out, even if you feel like it's boring, even if your head hurts, even if you're tired, even if you just broke up with your girlfriend, even if your wife divorced you, even if someone cheated on you, even when someone backstabbed you, all that shit is mental. It's not physical. Because physically, obviously, you can still do whatever you need to do, no matter the situation. Like you can drive in your car, like no matter how you mentally feel. You can get to work, no matter how you mentally feel. You have to apply fitness, like the same principles of fitness. All right. So let's get right into the shit. All right. Now, when you really put in the work and you look in the mirror and you look like this, you're like, holy shit. Now, this might not be impressive to a lot of people, but just from where I started and what I overcame to, reach that goal, makes it a big deal for me. But like I said, for most people, it's like, oh yeah, that's average. It's nothing crazy, right? So let's get right into it. All right. So the average man is out of shape, 28.1% body fat. And that's being generous because when I go to the gym, I see a lot of people who are like 40% body fat. When I go to the grocery store, I see a lot of people who are 30, 40, 50% super out of shape. And there's a lot of misconceptions like, oh, it doesn't matter how you look. It doesn't matter if you have a big stomach, it's just genetics. No, it's not fucking genetics. It's lack of fucking execution. And it's literally no self awareness and it's not executing when you need to as far as nutrition because no one in the world gets fat without putting in work. It just can't happen. You have to be in a calorie surplus to get fat. You have to eat a lot of shit to get fat. You don't just magically get fat. Nobody magically gets fat. God doesn't put fat onto random people. No one puts fat onto random people. You have to work very, very hard to add fat. It takes a lot of hard work, a lot of overeating to gain each inch of belly fat. Years and years of eating sweets, of eating insane portions of rice, fried rice, fried chicken, candy, chips, drinking beer, liquor for years on years on years consistently. That's the only way to get fat. You don't just magically get fat, guys. All right, so the first thing is lack of awareness. All right, and lack of self accountability. A lot of people are like, oh my God, like every time I post a day eating, people are like, oh my God, like you eat so much food. Like, what the hell? Like, if I eat that, I would get fat. And I'm like, no, you are fat right now, but it's because you don't eat this. You eat a fuckload of food. But since I'm eating high protein, right, it looks like a lot because generally when you're eating high protein, moderate carb, moderate fat, it looks like a lot on the plate because it's balanced, but it's high volume, low calorie versus a lot of people eat very low volume, high calorie, and they think they're not eating that much, right? Or they're just very, very unconscious of their snacking habits. How many people do you know that like have these unconscious snacking habits? Like when you start your fitness journey, you'll start to notice you're like, hey, why does my brother or why does my sister or why does my girlfriend or why does my, if girls are watching this, why does my boyfriend, always eat ice cream at night? Small things like that add up like a motherfucker, right? Because best believe you do not gain fat 50 pounds in 1 month. It's going to be 2 pounds a month for years and years and years. I've seen a lot of people like post because it's New Year's is coming up, so I've seen a lot of people posting in their stories and stuff like that. And his friends from high school, high school was 10 years ago for me because I'm an old nigga. But high school was like 10 years ago for me, and all these people, in the past 10 years they gained 1 pound per month. So now they're like 100 pounds up, and they're showing themselves in the gym, because it's January 1st is coming up, so they're showing themselves in the gym and they're big as hell. I'm like, holy shit! Like I saw some dude I used to know, he posted he was in the gym, a few weeks ago, and I was like, dude, he's fat as shit now, dude, because he gained a pound per week for the past year. It's compounded over time. It's small habits. It's like I said, if you eat at maintenance and then you just add ice cream, Ben and Jerry's 1 cup every single night, that's an extra 500 calories. You'll gain about 1 to 2 pounds per month, and if you keep doing that for years and years and years, it'll add up. All right. And here's the thing: when you don't eat with intention, you eat aimlessly, but you also don't get enough vitamins and minerals in, so you're gonna be hungry. When I don't eat with intention, I'll end up eating like candy, drinking, frappuccinos. Maybe I'll drink some juice, and I might have 2,000 calories down, 500 grams of carbs, a lot of sugar, and I don't feel full because I'm not getting protein in, I'm not getting vitamins and nutrients in, I'm not getting fiber in. So in my head, I'm like, well, I'm not full. I must not be eating a lot, but I am still eating a lot. It's just I'm not eating high volume foods. So do not confuse low volume foods with you're not eating a lot. Because a lot of people say, oh, I don't eat. Yes, the fuck you do. That's why you're fat as shit. You can't get fat without eating a lot. It's impossible. Like that shit. The whole movement, the whole TikTok, the whole Instagram. I'm sick of seeing it on social media. People saying, "Oh my God, you don't understand. It's my PCOS." Whether you have PCOS or not, you still have to overeat to get fat. It's that deep. It's not that deep. All right. Another thing is shiny object syndrome, guys. A lot of you guys are not sticking to anything long enough for it to work. All right, you're like, man, it's listen, I'm finna do keto because keto works because it's no carbs. People say this every fucking year. They're like, keto is it, man. There's no carbs. I'm gonna get lean. They do keto for 2 weeks and they're like, bro, I'm switching to water fast because it just makes more sense to keto. Keto doesn't make sense. Water fast makes more sense. And then they're like, you know what? I just found some boot camp class. I'm gonna do boot camp because strength training. I mean, it's just too. It's gonna make you bulky, and they just do dumb shit like that instead of sticking to what works, right? And being consistent with it and being patient, they always look for the perfect macro ratio, perfect diet. Like people, listen. Here's how you either get blocked or ignored in the DMs. People are always DMing me. Like literally yesterday, this happened. Someone was like, "Hey man, like put me onto your diet, man." I'm like, bro, I'm not putting you on my diet, bro. First of all, you're way fatter than me, so you don't need as little calories as I eat. Number one, and number two, you don't have the mindset that you need to actually execute. Because I could give. If you don't have the right mindset, I could give you the perfect diet, the perfect workout plan. You're not going to execute it. In your head, you might be like, "Yes, I will." No, you won't. Because if you don't have the mindset, it doesn't matter what the fuck I give you. Because you're not going to have the mindset to show up day in and day out. You're running off of motivation. That's why you're acting how you're acting. When you go off emotions, yeah, you'll be motivated. You'll execute a workout plan, a nutrition plan for like 1 to 2 weeks. But as soon as motivation runs out, you're done. You're done because your heart's not in it. You don't have a reason for it, and you're not really in it. You feel me? Like a lot of people do that shit. They're like, yeah, man. So I'm ready, man. Give me the plan, bro. I'm finna lock in. And then, once the motivation runs out, they're done too because they're not really ready to change their identity. That's the main thing. They're not ready to change their identity, and they think it's like a perfect diet. They think there's some kind of shortcut to their goal. It's a long term thing. It's a lifestyle change. Because best believe, obviously, when you get to your goal, you have to maintain it as well. But there is no even getting to your goal if you're not consistent. It's just not going to happen. Like, here's the thing. I know a lot of people want to get to the 10% body fat. Like, hold on. A lot of people see this picture and they'll be like, "Yeah, man." Like I posted this picture and people are like, "Yeah, I'm gonna get to that, bro. I'm gonna get to that next. I'm gonna get to that in the next 3 months." I'm like, I mean, it's possible if you're like 15% body fat right now and you're locked in, but they're like 40% body fat, so they're already setting unrealistic expectations on themselves, and they don't realize who they have to become to be this lean, right? Because if you want to be 10% body fat, you can't have the same mindset that you had when you're 40. When I was 20 to 25% body fat at 226 to 230, my mindset was not the same as it is now. That's the main difference, my identity. I have higher standards now. I look at myself differently. I have a different perspective of nutrition and working out than I did before. That's the bottom line. I'm not the same person. And the process changes you. That's what the process is for. It's like the Travis Hunter situation, right? A lot of us, we know that for most men, you have to go through like a tough breakup or a tough time to become the man that you are today. Without that process, you're not going to become the person you are because you didn't have that adversity. It just is what it is. That's what the process is for. That's why you can't skip the process. People try to like do shiny object syndrome or find something like the perfect time to start January 1st, perfect diet keto, perfect macro ratio, no carbs, like dumb shit like that because they want to skip the process. They want to cheat the grind. You can't cheat the grind. It's why literally 90, it has to be like 95% of people just never reach their goals. I've watched the same motherfuckers, bro, for the past 10 years ask me the same fucking question. I have some people for the past 5 years, past 2 years, past 3 years, they ask me the same questions. And it's really, you could tell by the questions they ask that they're just looking for a shortcut because they're not willing to put the work in. They're like, yeah, I don't want to really change my diet. And I'm like, you're just cooked. So I just don't answer them anymore because if you're not willing to change what you're currently doing, then you can't expect anything to change. Like it doesn't make any sense. If nothing changes, nothing changes. Period. All right. And just like I was saying before, like you want to make this a lifestyle change, this dieting shit, get that shit out of your head. All right. Get that dumbass shit out your head. Here's what you do. Here's what everybody does, by the way. Everybody does this shit. Right? You do unsustainable keto or carnivore, the same shit. Literally no fucking difference. Then you get hungry as hell. You binge. You gain more weight than you lost. Just stop doing this shit. Like, here's the thing. All you have to do is be in a calorie deficit. Now, obviously, this right here, this eggs and ground beef, this could fit in the carnivore diet. But guess what I eat? I eat a lot of white rice, bread, and all that tater tots, potatoes. I eat all that shit too. Because when you understand calories, you're like, okay, calories in, calories out. You can fit in some potatoes that are very high volume. You can fit in some carbs. That's going to make it more sustainable for you so you don't feel like you're starving. When you constantly feel like you're starving, even when you start your diet, like, here's the thing. If you're 15% body fat or lower, yes, you're going to have hunger pains, more hunger pains. If you're 40% body fat, you shouldn't be starving. You should be eating a fuckload of food, right? You want it to be sustainable because you have a long term goal. So you can't do you can't have a short term solution for a long term goal. It doesn't make any sense. It's like you make 5,000 a month, you spend 4,000 a month, and you want to save 100K. You have zero on your account, and you want to save 100K by the end of the year. Is that realistic? No. Basic math says that. So that's how it is for a lot of you guys' goals. You guys are 40% body fat and you guys want to do keto for 2 months to lose body fat. Now, if you do keto for 2 months and you're 40% body fat, you can lose a lot of weight, but you're not losing extra body fat. All right, you're just gonna lose extra muscle. So a lot of people confuse that shit. They'll lose like maybe if they're lucky 10% body fat in 2 months, like from 40 to 30, but they'll lose probably like 60 pounds. And like, dude, I lost 60 pounds. I'm like, I don't give a shit. You lost 40 pounds of muscle and 20 pounds of fat. That's horrible. Like you have less muscle than before, so your metabolism is going to be worse, and now you have saggy skin. All right, weekends and holidays. We all know New Year's and Thanksgiving, all that shit. Like, here's the thing, guys. 90-10 rule is cool. 95-5 rule is cool, but you got to realize if you, because literally in America, every single week, I mean, every single holiday, every single month is a holiday. So if you celebrate every single holiday and every weekend, weekends are 52 times a year. Holidays are like 15 times a year. So 52 times 2, that's 104 days, plus holidays is another like fucking 50 days. So that's half your year eating like shit, right? But the calories you eat on holidays is going to be double what you eat on a regular daily basis. So if you always binge eat and always go crazy on holidays, then you're never ever going to reach your goals. Holidays and weekends, you're never going to reach your goals. If you eat good during the week and you eat like shit every holiday and weekend, you're literally gain weight. All right. Here's another thing. People don't realize this, but like people who are above average do not aim to be above average. They aim to be the best versions of themselves. And guess what ends up happening? They end up being above average, right? People who aim to be average, which is what average people do. People who aim to be average or right above average is what average people do, right? So if you aim to be average or right above average, you're gonna be average. Aim to be average, you'll probably be below average to be honest. So it's like if you're like, you know what, I'll be okay if I just had a little bit of six pack. Working for a little bit of six pack it's just not going to happen because when you in order for you to lock in and to really get results as far as like getting leaner, you have to lock in so hard on nutrition, right? And you have to lock in on it consistently. So if you're trying to see some abs and you're just like, I'll eat good sometimes, I eat bad sometimes, you're never going to get to your goals because you have to lock in 100% to get lean enough to even get to that point. A lot of people are like, man, if I just had a little bit of muscle, a little bit of this, no, you still have to put in a lot of work to get to that point. And by the time you get to that point, you change your identity so much that you are more ambitious that you're going to reach for a higher goal anyways, right? That's why it seems like people are either like in super good shape or they're just super out of shape. Like the in between is usually like really hard, really hard to find. People who are like at a medium fat, like 15 to 20%, they're usually either coming down from a fat percentage or they're going up from a lean percentage. They're never really maintaining there because, like I said, it takes a certain mindset to be super lean, and it takes the opposite mindset to be overweight. All right, here's another thing you guys don't realize that I literally just said earlier. Like I said, there's a lot of high school people that I still see. You know what I'm saying? Like I still see them on like Facebook or Instagram, and they post in their story every once in a while. I'm just like, I just noticed it. Even if they wear like a black shirt, you can just see their waist circumference is like 45 minimum. It's like 45 to 50. Like it's insane. Like, and back in the day, they were lean in high school. They played sports and stuff like that. And they post on Instagram and Facebook. It's like their waist circumference is insane. But I saw it already because I've been watching the story since like 2017, and I know the compound effect. So they're gaining like an inch of fat every year, inch or two of fat every year. So 10 years later, that's 10 to 15 inches gained, and you can see it. You can really see it. They're like super heavy, super out of shape, and like the way they fit in clothes, all that stuff is different. That's how you gain weight. You gain literally 1 to 2 inches per 6 months per year. Nothing crazy, but when you add that up over time, that's 20 inches in like 10 years, right? Fat loss is way faster than that. That's a blessing. You need to realize that fucking shit. Or you need to realize that fat loss is way faster than fat gain. So every time someone's like, dang, man, I gained weight really fast. No, you didn't. You gained 1 inch or 1 pound per month for 4 years, and that's 50 pounds. You can lose that 50 pounds in 6 months as fast as shit. Stop being impatient and be like, 6 months is so long. No, it's not. The time's going to pass anyways, right? And it passed last year when you said you were going to do something about it and you didn't do shit about it. So you might as well really lock in and do something about it now. All right. And here's one of the biggest concepts as well. Because remember, this is all mental. You guys need to change your fucking mindset because what's going to make you execute day in and day out? I know a lot of people are like, hey, Luther, how do you stay locked in? It's all fucking mindset. It's mindset. If your mindset's not on point, I don't care what kind of plan you have in front of you. You're not going to be able to execute it day in and day out. So here's the thing. Out of shape people see eating healthy as something you do to temporarily lose weight, right? So they eat like shit during the holidays, eat like shit all the time. And then, when January comes around, they're like, okay, guys, it's time to eat healthy for a little bit. Let's burn off that holiday weight. They think it's a trend. It's literally like Eating healthy is literally the baseline. It's baseline. It's called eating healthy. It's good for your health. It's literally what you're supposed to be doing if you want to be healthy. Every time you go to the doctor and something's wrong, 80%, 90% of the time it's because of what you're eating or you're not working out enough. Literally. You have high blood pressure, guess what it is? It's not genetics. It's literally because you're eating like shit and you're not moving enough. It's that simple. Oh, you have high cholesterol? You're eating like shit, not moving enough. Oh, you have type 2 diabetes? Eating like shit, not eating enough. Not moving enough. Simple, right? And then they also see the gym as somewhere where you burn off excess, calories that they ate. They're like, oh my god, I ate a cookie. Let me burn it off in the gym. That mentality, you're never going to get to results because you're never going to burn that many calories in the gym. Like the ease of overeating is insane. Like if you eat one crumble cookie and you're like, dang, I messed up. Let me go burn it up. You're not burning that shit off in an hour session, bro. It's just not happening. And if you have that mentality, you're definitely never going to get to your goals because you're always going to be like, you know, working from behind or trying to overdo it in the gym. The gym is to build muscle, relieve stress, good for your bone health, metabolism, all that other stuff. Nutrition, like I said, is baseline for health, gut health, physical health, vital signs, blood work is going to be better. Like it's literally preventative for everything. All right. And then out of shape people also see food as rewards, hobbies, or enjoyment instead of fuel. Food is fuel. All right. It's not something you do when you're fucking bored, which is a lot of people do. It's not something you do for reward. Like, oh my God, it's my birthday. Let me eat 37 pounds of cake or some random shit like that. Oh my God, it's Christmas. Let me overeat for no reason. Oh my God, it's Thanksgiving. Let me binge eat for no reason. Doesn't make any fucking sense. Why do you let a day dictate whether you binge eat or not? Like that shit doesn't make any sense. And fitness is not a trend, but that's how out of shape people look at it. Like January's coming around, all the out of shape people are gonna be like, "Oh, it's a trend," and then they stop in February, right? Because they don't realize this is like baseline for your health. If you have type 2 diabetes, there's 100% chance that you could reverse it with what? Exercise and nutrition. Are you going to do it? That's up to you. But there's literally 100% chances. It's ridiculous that most people don't because it leads to a lot of issues in the future. All right. And here's what I noticed, right? When it comes to simplicity, specifically with nutrition. So me and my leanest friends, and yes, they're leaner than me. My brothers are leaner than me. I always say this shit. They're just leaner than me. They don't do goofy ass recipes. They literally keep it simple. Because just like when you're getting fat as hell, you're eating the same thing at Chick-fil-A, the same thing at Wingstop. That's how you get lean. You eat the same foods over and over because it's easy to make. You get used to it. And we love routine. Our minds love routine, right? If you're changing your routine every single day, which is basically shiny object syndrome, you're never going to reach your goal. It's just not going to happen. All right. It's pretty much guaranteed it's not going to happen. All right. Cheat days. Most people, if you're above 20% body fat, you can skip the slide because you do not need a cheat day. If you're above 20% body fat, you had enough cheat days. If you're above 30%, you had way too many cheat days. If you're above 40%, you are the creator of cheat days. Like this, you had enough. Don't even think about that shit. All right. And here's the problem with cheat days. Like people are like, yeah, man, I just need cheat days. No, the fuck you don't. You're 40% body fat. Your health is literally on the line because you had a cheat day every single day for the past 5 years. Like, let's just keep it a book. Every day for the past 5 years, you had a cheat day. Every day for the past 5 years, you either had ice cream, candy, chips, or all three, and fast food. Like, that's enough cheat days. Why do you want more cheat days? Cheat days are literally what are causing you to be where you don't want to be. So why would you want to reincorporate them when you're trying to change who you are? It's also going to confuse your identity because if you're trying to shift your identity and become the healthiest version of yourself, and you're incorporating old habits, then it's going to make you more likely to go back to your old habits, right? I see that shit all the time. Anyways, if you guys are locked in, ready to start, ready to really lose fat for real, and you're willing to put in the work, then link is going to be in the description. No bullshit. Listen, the reason I do Zoom calls, by the way, is because I want to disqualify people who are not locked in, who are just running off motivation and they're like, yeah, man, like I want to lose 50 pounds in 2 months. I'll literally hang up the fucking call because you need to be ready to change your lifestyle, ready to change your mindset, and realize that just how it took you 10 years to gain 50 pounds, it's not going to take you 10 years to lose it, which is great, but it's going to take time and mindset shifting to lose that 50 pounds. No, it's not going to take 10 years, which is a great thing. Might take 6 months, might take 12 months, but it's going to be way shorter than 10 years. But you have to shift your mentality. All right.